haven't seen much anime in a while, so I decided to watch every anime in alphabetical order, using my anime list database. So join me as we discover the good, the bad, the weird and the hidden gems.
消えた?
It's a normal school day for Kakeru and Yuka, when suddenly a terrifying feeling falls over them. The world around them changes, people disappear and they are left alone in a parallel world, with a red sky and a dark moon. Confused as to what just happened, they try to find anyone that can explain the situation. But the only thing they can find are terrifying monsters that try to attack them. But before the worst can happen, they're transported back to the original world. This anime is called 11 Eyes, released in fall of 2009 by Studio Dogo Kobo. It was adapted from the eroge visual novel called 11 Eyes, Tsumi no Batsunto Akanai no Shoujo, and is the first anime of this series I've actually already seen. Do I remember anything about it? No, absolutely nothing. The only thing that's vaguely familiar is the opening song. In the anime we follow Kakeru and Yuka, childhood friends that met in an orphanage when they were kids. They try to find the mystery surrounding the Red Night and why they were suddenly transported to it. After a day or so, this happens again and they are immediately surrounded by the monsters of the Red Night. Though this time they are saved and finally meet someone else, Kusakawa Misuzu, who protects them with her swords. After slaying the monsters they settle down and try to figure out what's going on. They find that in the center of the city are these giant crystal spikes and they figure something's waiting for them there. When they get there, they find a young girl trapped inside a crystal, asking them for help and to save her. But before they can do anything, they get surrounded by the Black Knights, two of which gave me PTSD flashbacks. But before anything major could happen, they're back again in their own world. This happens in the first two episodes, and from these two, a couple things are already apparent. Kakeru has some weird hero complex, but also has some very weird character logic. While he wants to protect Yuka with all he can, which isn't a lot, while on the topic of the center of the city with the big spikes, Misuzu wants to go there alone, because she is actually capable of defending herself, and tells Kakeru and Yuka to hide. Kakeru, wanting to be the hero, doesn't want to do this, and wants to come along, which, understandably, Misuzu disagrees with, because he'd just be in the way. But no, Kakeru insists and tells Yuka to hide somewhere. This really doesn't seem like you want to protect her, and just wants her to see you as a hero. These Red Knights also end at the most convenient times. When they get surrounded by monsters or the Black Knights, the moment they're about to be attacked, they get transported back to their own world. The anime is also an ecchi. This is very obvious since in the first 4 minutes of episode 1 you get a panty shot. Oh, and also in the first 2 minutes of episode 2. I counted, by the way, there are around 28 panty shots until the halfway point, because then the anime gets a bit more serious and doesn't show them anymore. Though even with these points the anime was still okay, basically until like the halfway point, where the anime focus shifts from the group of characters to now only Kakeru and Yuka. Yuka turns into an insufferable yandere, while Kakeru becomes an overpowered main character. In episode 5, Kakeru's powers finally awaken, which is a kind of future sight. Though he was also practicing sword fighting with the guidance of Misuzu, he wasn't really that good at it yet. But suddenly with these powers awakening, with his future sight, he also gained expert sword fighting skills with it. Yuka, being the love interest, of course has the subplot of seeing Kakeru and Misuzu doing some things that create a misunderstanding in Yuka's eyes. This is already an annoying enough subplot, but this turns Yuka into a yandere type character, to which both Kakeru and Yuka keep saying to one another that they will protect each other. It's something they say so often to each other it became such an annoyance. After finishing the anime I knew why I didn't remember anything. It's just bad and very forgettable. It isn't the worst thing I've seen. There were actually some aspects I did quite like or thought the anime did well. Since the anime is adapted from a visual novel, these almost always have multiple endings. And the anime shows this by having 2 endings. Episode 11 being the bad ending and episode 12 being the good one. Though only the concept of it is good since these 2 episodes are very rushed and gloss over so many things. In an earlier episode, one of the deaths of the characters also hit quite hard. It was a pretty shocking moment. The music in the anime was pretty good. It has this tense gothic style to it. Other than these things, the anime isn't very good and not worth your time. Maybe the visual novel is worth picking up, though only if you have like 50 hours or so to spare.
では父売れなんかどうでしょうか。
おお、ナイスだグラ。パンツがなくてもできる見事なもや。
Included with the Blu-rays and DVDs came 2 specials, the first one being a 4-minute 13-episode special that consists of manga-styled visuals with voice acting. These mainly follow the Black Knights in a comedic way with inside jokes about the series. These were alright. If you like the main series then you'd probably enjoy these 2. The second special is a non-canon episode 13 of the main series, and I think the synopsis on my anime list describes this special perfectly. In this special episode, Kakeru and the team enter a pink knight instead of red. The black knights are now pink arrow rangers, and Lieselot is a bondage driver. The team's powers are also warped with erotic twists. Kakeru can see through clothes, Yuka can change the boys into girls, Misuzu's swords are vibrators, Kukuri can speak but only says and draws profanities, Yukiko becomes sexually excited when she takes off her glasses, and Takehisa shoots small spouts of water from his fingers. This is definitely one of the specials of all time.
Do you need the bathroom?
No, I'm sorry, it's much more serious than that.
Why's that?
I once saw a scary movie called A Bridge Much Too Far. This bridge looks just like that one.
The Networld Adventures of the 12 Family is a 12-episode Chinese anime. The episodes are 30 minutes in length and we follow the 12 animals of the Chinese zodiac calendar. This is technically a sequel series, but you don't have to watch a prequel to understand this. In the anime we follow all 12 animals as they get chased by the Shadow Monster, an organization that's after the animals because I'm not actually sure why. They only really say that the animals are getting more popular than them in Networld, and that's why they are after zodiac animals. What is Networld? I also don't know. This is just a meaningless word that gets thrown around. From how I interpret it, it's some kind of virtual world or a website or something, but the show doesn't tell you anything about it. So they get chased by the Shadow Monster organization for unknown reasons for 12 episodes. Yeah, that's exactly what it's about. Nothing else happens. The anime is a loop of the zodiac animals getting captured by the organization, get locked away and then find a way to escape out. That's it. This is supposedly a kids show, but there are a lot of gunfights, so I don't know if that's really appropriate. At one point in episode 8 they make some kind of antidote for a poison, but they don't know if it would work or not. So the only way to know for sure is to drink the antidote and the poison after. But this is the kind of collective wisdom and unity they need to ward off the... Excuse me? What kind of temps? Yes, that's how the official YouTube channel describes these episodes, if I assume this to be the actual official channel. It does look to be that way, but I can't really confirm it. The episodes are on this YouTube channel both voiced in Chinese and English, with also both Chinese and English subtitles. These are made for kids from China to learn English. I watched the dub of this because it was just easier, and the voice acting is as you'd expect. Bad and very flat. It was made in the early 2000s, so I didn't really expect top quality animation, but even for this era it was bad. The anime has a weird habit of changing animals' character size very proportionately. Like the rat, for example, stands at a small size on the table, but then jumps off it and is almost half the height. The anime was so bad and boring to watch since it's basically the same premise over and over for 12 episodes.
小不点儿冒充大哥，
我们兄弟不是11个吗？怎么又多了一个呢？
新奇鼠，听都没听说过。
Now onto the magic world of the 12 family. This anime is one episode longer and attempts to introduce the characters to us. It does so in a way you will come to dislike basically all the characters. Episode 1 starts out with the rat, trying to find where the other 11 are, eventually finding them, but upon telling them that they're part of the family, they laugh in their face and tell the rat that they're only a family of 11. They keep laughing for a couple minutes and finally try to figure out if it's true or not, with a photo album, where all the 12 animals are pictured. How they do not know that the rat is part of the family while literally having a picture of all 12 animals is beyond me. The episodes after this one has its own contained story, with each episode focusing on one of the animals in some way, with the 13th episode being a collective one with all of them. These are all forgettable at best or unpleasant at worst. A theme that comes back in some of the episodes I've mentioned earlier, that they laugh at the character's misfortune, not in a wholesome laugh at what happens but still help them kind of way, but in a way that comes across as mocking or bullying, without any sympathy or lesson with it. For a show aimed towards children, this is a terrible message. It normalizes behavior that's already a real problem in schools, and the anime shows it as if it's something funny. Do not watch this, it's a waste of time. The title of this short 6-minute animation is 12 mosquitoes and 5 people, and is an educational video showing how 12 is divided with different numbers. It starts out with one person being stung by 12 mosquitoes, and after each time one person joins until 5. You don't get a whole number out of dividing 12 with 5, but the animation does some clever things to work around that and show some different equations. I honestly thought this was a really unique way to show how 12 is divided, and the animation does it in quite a clear way. Though it's unique, the presentation is still slightly unnerving. It's an educational video aimed towards kids, so it would benefit from using more brighter colors instead of the darker ones. And with the more unnerving atmosphere, I don't think kids are really gonna enjoy this, since it would probably scare them more than teach them how to divide 12. It's still a very creative and unique animation, so I do give it props to that. This is a short animation made by independent animator Tadanari Okamoto. He looks to be well known in Japan, but mostly unknown outside of it. The short animation is called December Song and was first released at a private screening in 1971. At the time it was projected on 3 multi-screen sites and was later released as a DVD collection re-edited to one screen. The animation and song is an adaptation of a well-known poem by the same name by Ibaraki Noriko, a famous Japanese poet. I tried to look up some stuff about the poem itself, but I couldn't really come up with anything. The animation is hand-drawn and shows animals hibernating and people busy working as such. That's really it. I tried to search around for some more information or meaning of it, but I couldn't really find much. The animation is well drawn, but it's honestly not really worth your time, since it's pretty difficult to understand and the song is just okay.
もうやめようぜ。
カカオなんだよ。邪魔すんなよ。
先生泣いてるし。
This OVA series follows a 12-year-old girl called Ayase Hanabi and her class. In the first episode, she and a classmate called Tako Yuto are signed together for a performance with their recorder, and while practicing see the homeroom teacher kissing. Them being still young get very flustered when they see this happening, and in an instant decide to do the same. A day later they address what happened that afternoon and decide to start dating. This OVA is a shorter anime with each episode being 11 minutes. Season 1 is 8 episodes and Season 2 is 4. The anime isn't strictly about the romantic relationship between Hanabi and Tako, but it also follows another couple with Hiyama Kazuma and Ayo Yui, and the changes that happen during the time of someone's life. Since this is a shoujo, it's mostly in the perspective of the girls, where it focuses on worries about their bodies and a more general subject, with them all trying to understand their emotions. In Season 2, another character is introduced with Tsutsumi, a guy that over the course of the 4 episodes starts to like Hanabi as well, creating a love triangle. Some rivalry starts with them, but ends with Tsutsumi accepting that he can't just rip away Hanabi from Tako. I quite like this OVA. It isn't perfect and definitely not for the majority of people that watch anime, but I liked what they tried to do. Though I don't really recommend it, not for the aforementioned reasons, but more that the next 2 entries on this is the TV adaptation of this series, making this OVA redundant.
ちゃんとおまじないして夢の中で手でもつないだろ。
The first 5 episodes are basically the same as the OVA series, with some dialogue and scenes added to. There are some plot points from the OVA that are in later episodes, but the majority of episode 6 onward is new. I'm not really gonna go into detail with how every episode goes, since this series is more episodic and follows a basic formula. The focus in each episode can switch between the 2 couples, and the way the 2 are written is something I thought the anime did really well. Hanabi and Tako are shown as the perfect couple, where on the surface nothing goes wrong, though of course this isn't true, since they both have a lot to learn about their own feelings and emotions. Tako is also shown as the perfect boyfriend, that does everything right, but that's not really the case. He does a lot of good of course, but also has some moments of reflection and does make mistakes. Hiyama and Yui on the other hand seem to have a more rocky relationship. This stems mostly because they don't know how to convey the feelings and emotions well, especially Hiyama, who makes a lot of odd decisions and says quite a few weird lines. As an example, in episode 7, it flashes back to before they were going out. Hiyama finds Yui crying in the classroom. At this point Hiyama already likes Yui, so he goes to a friend of Yui and asks what's up. Here comes to find out that Yui lost her mother years ago, and that's probably why she's crying. He's sympathetic towards Yui for this, but he doesn't understand how she could smile during a time like this. He gets frustrated at her for this and tells her not to laugh or smile. It's a strange thing to say to someone you like, but if you don't know how to handle your emotions or are really shy around the person you like, you can end up saying things that come out completely wrong. These are the strengths of the anime, where on the surface it just seems like your basic romance story, but it explores much more than that. Though there are other aspects that you can be critical of with this anime, like the characters show so much maturity at times that they seem more like adults than 12-year-olds. This is also an anime that the majority of viewers won't enjoy, since it's a shoujo with a big focus on growing up and first loves, but since I enjoy shoujo, I quite liked it. It's cute and awesome, and I do recommend it if it's something you think you'd enjoy. The December is a song and music video by Young Hee-won. She isn't mainstream popular, but has a good amount of people who enjoy her work. The song is, I think, a Christmas song, with some very nice instrumentals and soft vocals. I don't really know much of what the song is about, only that it's a Christmas song. Nothing else specific since I don't know Korean, and since she's a smaller artist, there aren't really any translated lyrics that I could find. I do quite like the song, especially the instrumentals. The music video is very minimalist with lyrics. It's just okay, I don't really have much to say on it. 123 is a song and music video that was released on NHK with the program Mine no Uta, a name that has come up before in the series. The song is made by Bless4, who's basically a 4-member boy band, but with 2 brothers and 2 sisters. I don't actually know if they are still active or not, since in 2022 one of the brothers left the group because of some family reasons. Maybe they are on hiatus. The song and music video were on the Mine no Uta program from December 2004 to January 2005. This isn't your traditional anime music video, but one with inspiration of Western cartoons with a hip-hop song over it. It's not good. It did give me that cartoon intro vibe from the early 2000s. Think of shows like Rocket Power. I don't really have much else to comment on this. It's not good and quite cringeworthy.
そしてみんなで寄ってたかって私を代わる代わるもてあそんで次から次へと犯してやり捨てるのね。大勢の男たちが私をどんどん
Here's the one we've all been waiting for, the first hentai of the series, and it's called The Story of 15 Beautiful Girls Adrift, a 3-episode OVA that aired from August 2009 to May 2011. It follows Kazuma, who's stranded on an island with the girls, and lucky for him, his camera still works, so he can take some sexy shots of the girls. This of course leads into more lewder poses until the sex scene starts. There really isn't any build up to it, it just goes from one thing immediately to the sex scenes, which is kinda unfortunate. The hentai is divided in chapter-like sections and focuses on 1 or 2 girls at a given time. The episodes are around 25 minutes long, so these scenes go by very quickly. Each 1 or 2 girls in each section tackles a specific fetish or position, so there's something for everyone, I guess. My favorite part was with Septim M. Quinn, if you're curious. Another standout one was with the character called Sakatake Kageko, but not for lewd reasons, but because she spoke super quiet, that I could barely hear her talk. Overall, this hentai was okay. It has something for basically everyone, so you'd probably enjoy it. It was just unfortunate that there wasn't really much build up or something for the sex scenes, and the climax parts are just still images. There also wasn't anything else like a story in it, which is usually also kinda nice to have, but it's not important for everyone. Thank you for making it to the end. In the next episode, we're gonna ask the question of what the human imagination is, and there will be not 1, but 2 anime made in portrait. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and let me know in the comments what you thought of all the anime.